Is it true or false that sodium chloride is a basic ingredient in rat poison?
I think it's fair to say that sodium fluoride is contained in a rat poison, and I think it's also fair to say that it's contained in tea. What comparison you wish to draw from that statement will be up to you to draw it. It is an ingredient of rat poison.
We are being medicated, mass medicated, in the water supplies. Of course, it's a free society. Are we really free?
What about iodine and salt? Isn't that the same analogy?
I don't know. I'm objecting to being compelled to take medication.
I'm Dr. Mike Fleming, been in practice about 30 years here in Durham, North Carolina, and we have always been interested in the more holistic aspects of dentistry, and so that led me into a variety of different intellectual pursuits. The safety of dental materials and all things dentistry were of concern to me in terms of how they affected patient health, so that's a little bit of the part of the odyssey. In early 2006, I was approached and asked if I would be interested in serving on an FDA advisory panel. And I said, well, yes. And so the process began. And I was appointed in April of 2006 to the dental products panel at the Food and Drug Administration. And in September of 2006, hearings were held on the neurological effects of dental amalgam. There were 2 days of hearings that in my estimation represented a major turning point in the entire issue of mercury use in dentistry. And since that time there's been a lot of activity, both public and behind the scenes, involving regulation of amalgam. The issues with which I'm concerned, which would include the issues that we're going to talk about today, are issues that organized dentistry still maintains are entirely safe. That would include amalgam and fluoride, for example, for use in humans. I do not share that view, but nor do many of my colleagues, but generally, yes, there's a lot of animosity and, as you say, pushback, from organized dentistry against those who would question the safety of those products.
This is like real early in the process here, so we have capacity to do 86 million gallons a day. On average, we're probably in the 40s, 48, 49 million gallons a day.
It's a lot of water.
It is.
What we do is we go out for bids for the different assorted chemicals that we use here at the facility, and one of the products that we use is hydrofluorosilicic acid, which is actually it's a byproduct of the fertilizer industry. And we go out to bids from different suppliers. I think now there's probably only 1 or 2 suppliers that are still making it at this time, so we get it on low bid.
Fluoride is one of the most common elements to be found in the Earth's crust and in our atmosphere, and it's generally not found as free fluorine. It's usually found bound in the crust of the Earth and has to be harvested for use in industrial settings. It has a wide variety of uses, both in dentistry and industry, nuclear power industry. Essentially, anytime you manufacture aluminum, for example, or if you manufacture fertilizer, fluoride is liberated from those processes, because aluminum is it's found in the environment as aluminum fluoride, known as bauxite. So you simply have to fractionate that to separate the aluminum from that fluoride, and that byproduct is then sent into various areas of use, which would include water chemistry, the addition to water supplies, the addition to dental products, and many, many other applications to include drugs, pharmaceuticals. There are some water supplies in the United States that are tainted with these drugs. In other words, Prozac, being a relatively stable metabolite, will be passed out into the waste stream, and then it can be recaptured and sometimes finds its way into the outgoing water back to your tap. It's not true in all municipalities. They do monitor it, but there is an issue of its persistence in the environment and the ability of aquatic organisms to break it down. Another example of the use of fluorine is in Teflon. Teflon is nothing more than a highly fluorinated organic compound that forms the coating on your panware. There was a great deal of controversy about whether fluoride was liberated when heated. It's also found in fabric cover protectors, although that has been generally withdrawn from the market. The persistence of fluorine in the environment in the nuclear power industry, it's used quite routinely in the nuclear power plants. It's the issue of us being able to say that now everybody's getting 1 part per million, which is considered to be, quote unquote, the therapeutic dose for an adult. It's less than that for a child. So we have to think about what are we doing in our society to ourselves.
All the equipment here, the way the state has it set up is we have a bulk storage tank that we bring the fluoride in, and we store it we have about 6,000 gallons of it on site. And we have, here behind me, we've got a day tank, which is where we transfer the fluoride into and we weigh it. So we keep a real tight inventory on what we've got and how we feed it. And the operations staff, basically the plant runs, we get a signal out here to the chemical feed pumps, and the chemical feed pumps automatically flow pace according to the flow of water through the plant for that day and what we're pumping out into the system. And they set the dosage at somewhere, we look at our raw water fluoride number, and it's about 0.1 milligram per liter in the raw water source. So we set our pumps to feed about 0.9 milligram per liter. So we're trying to achieve a dosage rate of about 1 to 1.2 milligram per liter.
Well, to put it very simply, fluoride is safe at 1 part per million.
Well, we didn't study this very much, nor did we study the mercury issue very much. As a matter of fact, it was never discussed much, other than the benefits of fluoride, to the developing dentition. I think historically the benefits of fluoride in teeth were seen in early research studies done on its effect on bone and teeth when they were doing the original so-called safety studies on fluoride prior to introducing it into the water. But in a sense, the history of this issue is very checkered. By that I mean that if you go back into its deeper history, back into the early parts of the 1900s, its history of its use in Nazi Germany and in Russia, where fluoride was added to the water to control the population's mood, as a mood altering substance, and also to, in the case of Russian prisoners, to diminish sexual drives. It's known to do that. So its history is very, very checkered.